Hey everybody, welcome to C's Backstage. This is your all-access pass to everything you need to know to design, produce, and inspire your next event. I'm your host, Troy Peters, Chief Experience Officer at C's Productions, here to navigate this journey. Today's episode is about the live events industry and the importance of having a voice and an advocate for the industry that we all love and that we live in every day. On today's program, we have Tina Marie Honor, a National Account Manager with Live Nation, which is impressive in its own right. But you've been very involved in the industry as a whole. You're the current president of the Meeting Professionals International, MPI, San Diego chapter, and have held many roles in the chapter. But let's share a little bit. Welcome to the program. Share a little bit about your journey here. And maybe we'll let Zack, our CEO, speak every once in a while. I meant to do an intro for Zack.
That's okay.
But hopefully by now people know who he is. We've done a couple of these. But yeah, share a little bit about how you got involved and the value that you see being involved and what sort of like pulled you in that direction to say, hey, I want to try this out.
Yeah, absolutely. So in 2018, I was working at a vineyard doing a ton of weddings a year. We did like 90 weddings a year. And I was kind of done with that market, right? It's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's so fun, but very exhausting. So I decided to get on Indeed, and I said, I got to get back to San Diego, because at the time I was in Temecula. So I wanted to come back home to San Diego, and I saw a job posted for a corporate sales manager at the House of Blues in San Diego. And so I said, this sounds perfect for me. I hope they give me a shot because, you know, I have a big background in weddings, not very much experience with corporate event sales. So I guess I slam dunked the interview process, and they welcomed me to the team, which I was very grateful for. And so when I knew I was coming back to San Diego, I said, I've got to rebuild my network. That was like first and foremost, you know, get down there, move, and then now let's build our network. And so I started looking around at the different associations that we have in San Diego, and MPI just stuck out to me. I had heard of them before. So I had known about them previously, but under Meeting Planners International, and they were now Meeting Professionals International, which I felt very included in that grouping. So I joined that association, and right away I said, I've got to get involved now. You know, you can't just join and like let the magic work for you. You've got to like put some effort into it.
Be involved.
And exactly.
You get out
engage.
what you put in.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And so on my first meeting, I remember it was Annette Gregg, who is just well respected in our industry. She's actually a local too, so shout out to San Diego. And so she was presenting a professional development course, and so I went and I connected with a few people who were on the board at the time, and I said I really want to get involved. So they just kind of plugged me in where I needed to be, welcomed me to their retreat, and then recruited me to join the board right then and there. So it was just perfect timing. So I really found the value in rebuilding my network in San Diego just from joining MPI and getting involved on the board as a chapter leader.
Yeah, awesome. I love that. And I've shared a little bit with you that I've been very involved over the last 10 or 12 years. But same thing. I was, hired by a new company, had to move to Phoenix. So didn't even really have a lot of friends in Arizona. I was from the Pacific Northwest. And so I knew, having been an event planner in Washington State, that I was like, well, there is MPI. I never really got too involved up there. But that was my first thing, and I think it was literally a tweet that I saw randomly while I was working at this office and had nobody in town that I knew, and it was, we're looking for someone to run our social media. And I was like, well, how appropriate they tweeted this, and I saw it, and I will reply via tweet. Probably the only tweet I've ever put out. I replied back, and then Danielle Adams, she called me and said, yeah, we'd love for you to get involved. And that was it. I was hooked. I loved it. I've made some of the longest term friends I've had still to this day, other than high school or college, but that I'm still in touch with, that, you know, maybe we never did business together, but we are tight, good friends, and there are resources out there that you can use. And I think a lot of us saw during the pandemic that, you know, as much, or even just in our professional careers, as you kind of shared, as you've evolved and changed roles, that association, that involvement you have in your community, which we're talking about MPI, that stays true no matter where you go. Like I've had a couple positions now where I've been an MPI member. That's always been the one thing that's been through there, but I've worked for different companies during that time. So it really is that way to have a conduit in your professional career, gives you a little bit of justification for what you do and others as they see you. So maybe speak a little bit about, the other end of the spectrum. You can kind of get involved. You can help be an advocate for the industry, but you can also get some certification and some credibility by being involved and being, signing up for a membership or.
Yeah. And for someone like me who hasn't been that involved, like, what does that all mean? Like I knew what MPI was, but I didn't know what, the involvement in it would, like, I don't know, yield, for lack of a better word,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's typically the question that we get. How can I get involved? How much time is it going to take? Like, what kind of skills do I need? So earlier this year in January, we hosted like a coffee and chat on Zoom and just welcomed everybody and welcomed all the questions that kind of would come up about that. So first and foremost, you have your jobby job. So I'm with Live Nation Special Events. That's first and foremost. I've got to take care of business, right? So we like to learn how much time people have to dedicate to the chapter, whether it's 2 hours a week or 10 hours a week, whatever that may look like for you, because then we can kind of place them in whichever position is respectful of that time commitment that you have available for us. So there's that piece of it. And then another way that, I don't want to say spin it, but the other way that I like to spin it, I'm going to say it anyway, is, if I have a background in marketing and I want to join MPI and become engaged on the board, do I want to join the marketing team, or do I want to go over a membership and see like what skill set can I learn from these folks in membership that can then boost me up in my career and just get some professional development. So it's like a two-way street. You can learn something, you can give back and show your skill set, and then you can also learn something and build a new skill set. So that's always very important to me as well, which is why I kind of bounce around to different departments in MPI. What was the last question?
It's about CMP and the value of getting some sort of accreditation that
what does that mean
shows
exactly? I don't even know, right? You are a CTS
certified technology specialist, which is our industry's version of showing that you've read the book, what the rules are, kind of thing, but gives you validity.
And I see
in an
these
industry.
Other ones, there's CMP and I don't know, but
CMM,
I see them and
CMP,
I always wonder, what does that mean? How did they get that? And
certified.
Why does that matter?
So it does show another level of education and experience and dedication. I would say dedication to the industry. So certified meeting professionals, our CMP that we have available. So in order to get a CMP, you have to take some educational courses that are certified through EIC, which is our,
Events Industry
There's
Council.
so many
Thank you.
very much.
Yes, Events Industry Council. So not every association has certified, our 1 hour courses or 3 hour programs, whatever that may look like. Not every association has that, but we luckily do. So if we have a program coming up, it's a professional development program, and you can earn 1 hour of EIC credit that goes towards the domain of marketing. So it gets very intricate. You got to make sure you hit all the hours required, but then you can apply to sit for the exam. So similar to like real estate, you need to sit for an exam and become a realtor or whatever designation you need there. So this has shown that people have taken educational courses that are certified by EIC. They've sat for the exam, they passed the exam, and so now they're a CMP.
Fantastic. And it's super, just thinking about my own CTS, and I've started to get into the CMP. Events keep happening. I keep having to do work stuff. So I've tried to, and I'd love to get my CMM. That's probably going to be my goal next. But having my CTS really allowed me to just deal so it was volunteering, it was studying for that accreditation and that sort of thing. But it really allowed me to have an intelligent conversation with a client about screen sizes. And it was based on the knowledge that I learned there about furthest distance, closest distance. There's a ratio, there's math that you can put behind that. And so by getting that certification, it allowed me to sound a lot more educated, maybe just sounded more educated, but it actually gives you that I do know there's rules and there's best practices. Right. So it really does make you better at your job. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that what you were sharing about just the involvement and the time management and everything, and how could you, if you were somebody, maybe a young professional that wanted to justify their organization paying for a membership or something, how can you share about the ROI? Say if you're a medium-sized business that maybe you're on the vendor side, but how do you justify that? How do you go to your leadership and say, hey, I'd love to be a member? What are some points they could bring up with their who they report to that can say, like, this is the reason I think it's going to be good?
I'm also curious, like, what level before they get involved do they need to be at? Can you be like totally new to everything, and is that okay as a jumping in point? Or
yeah, good question.
Yeah, I'll start with that and then go to yours. So being, brand new to the industry, we do get a lot of students who reach out and want to be involved, and we love that. San Diego State has a wonderful hospitality program.
They do. That's true.
Yes. Yeah. I also have some students from UCSD who I recently connected with, and we're supposed to have, one gal, we're supposed to have coffee, just talk about goals and things like that. So what I would say to these newbies in the industry is maybe jump on as a committee member. So you're not exactly on the board, but you're still learning from the board members. You're applying the skills that you learned from school. You're still contributing, but you're just taking in like a lot of what these professionals around the table have to offer. And then from there, you can move from a committee member to a director position, and then to a VP, and then eventually president position. So we do have opportunities for folks to jump in at any level, even if they're just like learning about events. I had someone come to me and they're like, I'm in marketing. I've been doing marketing and social media, but I really love events. That's like my passion. What should I do? Okay, well, like jump on the finance team. Let's do some events, like some networking mixers and things like that. And you can dip your toe into it and see like how you feel. And then from there, we can kind of develop a little bit later. So yeah, that would be that.
And then once they're involved, what was...
It was how do
ROI,
you how do you justify and show that there is value when you've got to you got to justify the spend that it takes to either just attend a meeting or to get your membership. How would you advise somebody on how to like kind of share the benefit of the ROI that you're getting?
Yes. So one thing is MPI is a global name, so it's recognized all over the world. And so if you have that, even if you add it to your signature line or anything like that, it shows that you are a member of MPI, and that speaks to folks. The other piece is like just making these connections with everyone at these networking, professional development, or some of our signature events as well. So even if you're not so great at networking, we kind of pull you out of the shell a little bit, We'll see people in the corner and just sipping their coffee or a glass of wine, and, we want to go over there and bring them out of their shell, learn about you.
Networking has always felt like a high school dance to me.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're either comfortable with it or you're not.
Yeah.
And sometimes I am. I have an introvert-extrovert battle all the time where I'm like, I want to be involved,
I know,
but I also want to be at home in my pajamas.
If I go with friends, I'm good to go. But
Yeah. Or getting out of the pajamas and getting to the thing, you're like, I'm glad I did this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it has been the most valuable thing I've ever been a part of, getting involved and really truly being involved and raising a hand. I think, it is, as much as some people might think of it as kind of a club or a nice thing to have, it taught me a lot about the different levels, because you kind of join, you maybe you're a chair or you're a committee member, and then you take on a manager or director position, but then you go for a VP position. These are all real business things to learn, and so my skill as VP of communications with the chapter I was involved with at the time really helped me justify a VP position with my own company. And our leadership was like, yeah, you're showing us the work by being involved, getting out there and really making our company a better place.
I never even really thought of it that way, but yeah, that's true.
It's a management training tool, right?
Yeah.
Getting people involved in boards and whatnot.
And you can definitely put it on your resume, which I haven't updated my LinkedIn with all those roles yet, but I've learned some skills that I would not have learned as an event sales manager or a national account manager. So, can definitely build
your brand.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing that too, that we don't have the MPI logo. That needs to be added to our website.
I know.
Tyler, our podcast engineer, if you're listening, which you should be, we need to get the MPI logo and a link to MPI San Diego on the website.
Yeah.
I actually have something to add to that too. So mentioning about ROI, we also have this motto, the buy MPI. So buy BUI, which is we always try to look internally first. You know, we have a community on Facebook. We can pose a question. Hey, we're looking for a photo booth. Who out there has that type of service that we can utilize? So we want to go through the MPI members in our community first, and then look outside of that.
Right.
I'll be honest, the clients that I have had in my career that were involved with MPI were the best clients to have because they understood. They knew it, and they knew we were members. They knew we were all fighting the same battle, trying to like have advocacy, and that's kind of going to be the last piece that I want to sort of kick us into with MPI and some of the other EICs and PCMA and whatnot out there. The formulation, and I think I'm remembering this correctly, of Global Meetings Industry Day, this GMID, which happens in April, I think. And it was really started when a certain White House group organization, we had a certain leader that was like, I don't think that, that thought that they could just dial back business travel. And then that was, I think, what formed GMID, right? The Global Meetings Industry Day.
I actually don't know that
Don't you?
history. Yes,
we can edit this part out.
Huge. Yeah.
Let me start that
Let
again.
me Google it real quick.
Yeah. So,
I'm just
yeah.
no idea.
I was involved with like the first Global Meetings Industry Day, and it was huge. So let's see if we can start this over, Tyler. Cut out some of that.
This is gold. I don't know what you're talking about.
This will be in the
These
blooper
are my
reel.
favorite parts.
These
of
are
these.
authentic,
All right,
right?
we leave it in.
Authenticity.
We leave it in. So I believe Global Meetings Industry Day, I think there was a point where they wanted government employees that were traveling to all these events, and they were kind of like came down hard on Las Vegas when they heard how much was like, you go to an event, you're spending a lot of money, all these things. But that really hit the industry hard. This was in 2011, maybe 2010. And then we realized, as these organizations within the industry, we really need to show Congress, we need to show the government what an impact the meetings and events industry has. It's not just concerts and parties, and it's people getting their certifications. It's dentists that have to go and get certified every year because they want to be a dentist. It's doctors that are learning the latest and greatest to save someone's life. Like, those are all the important things.
Right.
How does the local chapter do a GMID thing? What are the other? Let's just talk about all the events that we do that are advocacy related, that kind of give us a voice, whether it's local government or national.
Yes, we definitely celebrate GMID. It's a big effort from MPI Global, so we do it. Every chapter celebrates in some form or fashion. Even during the pandemic, when we were going through it, we did a huge virtual thing. We all kind of like recorded a little snippets to represent our own communities and our own town. But yes, GMID is like top on our list. We look forward to it every April. We turn it into a fundraiser for our chapter. And yeah, I think that's the only one that we honestly do in MPI San Diego.
Do you do any of like when you go to WEC or anything? Is there any advocacy things that are done?
Can you
for presidents?
make me a cheat sheet?
What all these terms mean?
I will get you up to speed. Don't worry. We're gonna get Zack volunteering before too long. It's gonna be on a committee. But the importance of being involved and the importance of having a voice in government, so that we don't have a government that just says, all right, no more business travel, or removes
And they
you know,
get
that discretionary spending and,
overlooked for an entire pandemic, and it's I think I said it before, it's $1 trillion industry that was completely ignored for 18 months almost. So,
yeah.
And
look
how
what
do we
happened.
how do we not let that happen again?
Yep, absolutely. But yeah, the importance of being involved is has, I think, helped everything for me. So Tina Marie, we really appreciate you taking the time to be on the program, talk about what it is that MPI does, and being involved in whatever association that represents your industry. For us, it's live events. How can people learn more? Where can they go to get involved? Maybe sign up to become a member? Let's start there.
Yes, definitely. So to learn more about becoming a member, I would recommend going to mpi.org. You can search for the San Diego chapter specifically, but mpi.org will be the landing page for all the details on membership in general. And then also just feel free to reach out to me, if I could say that, if that's okay. I'm very friendly on LinkedIn.
100%.
Just find me by my full name, and I'd be glad to kind of show you the ropes as needed. And then from there, after becoming a member, if you'd like to jump on the board or a committee, feel free to reach out to any of our chapter leaders. But specifically myself, I always welcome the conversation, having a cup of coffee or even some lunch. I've got a lunch appointment on Monday to chat with someone. I'm just always happy to connect in person, as we all should be meeting in person.
And so would you do you recommend that social media be the best place so you can learn about upcoming events? I know there's typically education programs. There's probably a year-end gala, those sorts of things. And then what if I wanted to be a sponsor? How do I do that?
Yes, absolutely. So Instagram is like the best place to follow us on social media platforms. So that would be at MPI San Diego. We will post any type of event updates or upcoming, save the dates. We also have some fun member spotlights and some engaging type of posts there as well. So feel free to follow us there to keep in the know of what we've got coming up or going on at that time.
Yeah. Awesome.
The second part of the question.
And then what major events are there that we should have in our back pocket? I know usually December and June are some bigger ones, the flagship events.
Yes. So our flagship events would be, one of them would be the GMID celebration, which happens in April. We've got our gala that's typically in June. We have a holiday party that comes in December. And then we've scattered around some networking events as well throughout the year. And then the educational programs that'll earn you those credits for your CMP.
Perfect.
And what if we wanted to be like an AV sponsor of one of those events? What would we do?
Well, we're just going to write up that contract right after this podcast.
I mean, honestly,
Oh, goodness.
I was hired as the chief experience officer, and when Zack hired me here a few months ago, it was, it's the experience is being involved.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we are providing equipment and audiovisual solutions for people that want to connect people together. That's the whole point, right? I've done work with government agencies, and you get the two opposing sides on the opposite side of the table, but they're there to connect and talk. Yeah. And so anytime we can do anything to support the industry and get people in a room talking, it's the value is there 100%. Yeah. Well, Tina Marie, I really appreciate you taking the time to come and chat with us on our C's backstage experience. Zack, thanks as always for attending.
Nailed it.
This has been, I've been trying to do it without looking at the notes so much, but
I've heard it enough times.
Yeah. I think we're just going to leave this one go. This has been C's Backstage. This is your all-access pass to everything you need to know to design, produce, and inspire your next event. Our podcasts are released on the first and third Thursday of every month, so set those reminders so you can #Seize Your Moment. Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you.